What if I told you Earth was never truly ours? Beneath the ocean, across the skies, and buried deep within the hollow Earth, lies creatures older than human history. Giants fueled by radiation, designed by evolution, and bound by a law older than civilization. Survival of the strongest. In the world of Godzilla, they're not called monsters, they're called titans. Some rise to protect, others burn everything in their path. And a rare few don't just fight for territory, they fight for a throne. In this video, we're breaking down every titan in Godzilla's cinematic Monsterverse, from ancient allies to cosmic invaders, apex predators to pretenders to the crown. You'll meet the alphas, the rivals, and the titans who nearly brought humanity to extinction. Because in this universe, power isn't just measured in size, it's measured in legacy, and Godzilla isn't the only one that matters. In the world of Godzilla, the term Titan doesn't just mean giant monster. It means ancient apex predator, forged by radiation, and born long before humans walked the Earth. These aren't just creatures, they're forces of nature. Earthquakes with legs, nuclear reactors with claws, and they've been living beneath our feet for millions of years. The Monsterverse classifies these behemoths under the Monarch system, a global organization that discovered and studies titans. Each titan has its own unique biology, behavior, and ecosystem. Some thrive in lava, others in the darkest depths of the ocean. But when two titans meet, one thing matters above all: dominance. That's where the term alpha comes in. An alpha titan isn't just the biggest or the strongest, they're the one who commands the others. Through raw power, instinctual fear, or even ancient biology, an alpha exerts control over fellow titans, sometimes bending them to its will with a single call. But here's the twist: there isn't just one alpha. Throughout history, multiple titans have battled for that crown. Some have won it, some have lost it, others defied it completely. So before we get into the roster, just remember, not all titans are equal. Some were born to rule. Godzilla, for example, is the face of the franchise, the king of the monsters, the walking apocalypse with a dorsal fin. But before the crown, there was the war. Long before cities, satellites, or nukes, Godzilla species, Titanus Gojira, reigned over the planet. Their natural fuel, radiation. Their habitat, deep ocean trenches and the hollow Earth. And while others of his kind once roamed, Godzilla is now the last of his lineage. We first meet him in Godzilla 2014, not as a villain, but as nature's ultimate correction, a force summoned to restore balance, not to humans, but to the Titan ecosystem itself. He's not just massive, 393 feet tall in his evolved form, he's also built like a nuclear tank. He's smart, tactical, and carries an iconic weapon, the atomic breath, a beam of pure radioactive fury that melts buildings and rivals the sun. But being king doesn't come without challengers. In the past, his ancestor Denken fell to Muto Prime, and in the present, Godzilla has fought everything from parasitic Muto pairs to the cosmic terror of Ghidorah. Yet every time, he returns stronger. After surviving a nuclear blast in the King of the Monsters, Godzilla's status as Alpha was no longer up for debate. Even Rodan bowed to him. Titans across the globe responded to his roar, not with defiance, but obedience. And in Godzilla vs. Kong, even when facing another Alpha, Godzilla held his ground. Wounded, yes, but unbroken. If there's one constant in the Monsterverse, it's that when Titans clash, Godzilla is the measuring stick. The crown he wears, it's not ceremonial, it's earned, through battle, survival, and sheer unstoppable power. Every king has challengers, and in the Monsterverse, keeping the crown means facing threats that come from every corner of the Earth, and beyond. But let's meet the titans who came closest to dethroning Godzilla, and almost ended his reign. First is King Ghidorah. If Godzilla is Earth's natural guardian, Ghidorah is its cosmic curse. An alien lifeform that crash-landed thousands of years ago, Titanus Ghidorah was never meant to exist here, but that didn't stop him from trying to rewrite the planet's hierarchy. With gravity beams from each of his 3 heads, and wings that create Category 6 hurricanes, Ghidorah overwhelmed Godzilla during their first battle in King of the Monsters. But Ghidorah wasn't just physically dominant, he could emit an alpha signal, summoning other titans across the globe to awaken and obey. He became the false king. The world burned under his rule. Until Godzilla returned. Recharged by a nuclear blast, and supercharged by Mothra's sacrifice, Godzilla melted Ghidorah into atomic dust, reclaiming the throne once again. Next we have Muto Prime. Before the Mutos from Godzilla 2014, there was their mother, Muto Prime. Featured in the graphic novel Godzilla Aftershock, this ancient parasitic titan nearly wiped out the Gojira species by implanting its young inside them, including Godzilla's ancestor Dagon. Muto Prime didn't fight head-on. She wore Godzilla down across multiple ambushes, almost managing to implant her larvae before being stopped. Her strategy? Guerrilla warfare. Her goal? Extinction. She failed, but barely. But now, what about Mechagodzilla? In Godzilla vs. King Kong, the biggest threat wasn't a Titan, it was a machine. Built by Apex Cybernetics, Mechagodzilla was designed to replace Godzilla entirely. But when Ghidorah's remaining consciousness took over the neural link, it became something far worse. A synthetic alpha with no moral code, no balance instinct, just pure destruction. It overpowered Godzilla in brutal fashion, nearly killing him, until Kong stepped in. Together, the two alphas ended the metallic nightmare, but Mechagodzilla proved one thing: even man-made monsters can rise to challenge gods. Next, we have Tiamat. After the battle with Ghidorah left Godzilla weakened, the ocean wasn't safe either. Tiamat, the venom-spewing titan dwelling in the deep, ambushed him while he was recovering. Their battle nearly ended with Godzilla drowned and poisoned, but the king rose again. Tiamat submitted but made her mark as one of the few creatures to ever force Godzilla to evolve mid-battle. And then there's Shimo, an ancient frost titan awakened in Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. Chained and weaponized by Scar King, Shimo was never Godzilla's enemy, until she was forced to be. Her frost breath could rival his atomic power, her size even more massive. Godzilla had to push himself beyond his limits to face her, ultimately evolving into his magenta-powered form. She wasn't a villain, but in terms of raw power, Shimo may be the most dangerous alpha-level titan we've ever seen. Each of these monsters tested the king. Some nearly killed him, others changed him forever. But in the end, Godzilla is still standing, and the crown, still his. Not every titan that crosses paths with Godzilla is an enemy. Some rise not to challenge him, but to stand beside him. These are the titans who help shape Godzilla's reign, not through conquest, but connection. First is Mothra. Elegant, powerful, and reborn across generations, Mothra is more than just a titan. She's a symbol of balance. Discovered in a temple deep in the Yunnan rainforest, her chrysalis dates back 12,000 years, and when awakened in King of the Monsters, she chose a side: Godzilla's. Unlike other titans, Mothra doesn't dominate through fear. She protects, guides, and sacrifices. In the final battle against Ghidorah, she laid down her life for the king, and in return, her energy revived him. Their relationship is symbiotic, both mythical and biological. Where he's destruction, she is renewal. Some call her a goddess, others the true queen of the monsters. Either way, Mothra's presence solidifies Godzilla's place, not just as a destroyer, but as a king with balance. Then we have Rodan. When Rodan erupted from Isla de Mara, he brought molten winds and a taste for battle. He fought Mothra, he bowed to Ghidorah, but in the end, he acknowledged the rightful alpha. After Godzilla's victory in Boston, Rodan submitted, his wings folded. His wings folded, his fire cooled. Since then, he's remained silent, but loyal. There's also Behemoth, Methuselah, and Leviathan. In King of the Monsters, we briefly glimpse three massive beasts answering the Alpha's call. Behemoth, a mammoth-like forest guardian, Methuselah, a mountain-backed titan said to be ancient beyond comprehension, and Leviathan, a sea-dweller resembling the legendary Loch Ness Monster. None of them challenge Godzilla. They rise, they bow, and they disappear into myth once more. Loyal not by force, but by nature. These titans show us that strength isn't always about domination. Sometimes the true power of a king is measured by who stands with him, not just who kneels. Being alpha isn't just about beating the biggest monster in the room. It's about maintaining balance, not only among titans, but across the entire planet. In King of the Monsters, we learn that titans serve a biological function. Their presence restores natural order, clears pollution, revives ecosystems. But when the wrong alpha rises, like Ghidorah, chaos spreads. Volcanoes erupt, cities fall, and nature revolts. Godzilla doesn't rule to conquer, he rules to stabilize. That's why titans like Rodan and Behemoth fall in line after defeat. Not out of fear, but instinct. An ancient biological response wired into these creatures. Follow the one who restores the world, not destroys it. But this balance is fragile. When humans interfered, waking titans all at once, creating Mechagodzilla, exploiting the Orca signal, it disrupted that balance. It reminds us that alpha status can be broken, overthrown, or worse, weaponized. Even Kong, an alpha in his own right, chose not to submit. Not out of rebellion, but because his domain was different, the Hollow Earth. His strength didn't threaten Godzilla's rule, and their final fight, it wasn't about dominance, it was about survival. And when a greater threat emerged, they chose cooperation over competition. In the end, alpha politics in the Monsterverse mirror something very human: power struggles, uneasy alliances, and a delicate thread between peace and war. Godzilla may be king, but it's the system of balance, kept in check by rivals, allies, and the will of nature, that truly rules this world. The world of Godzilla isn't just about monsters smashing buildings. It's a living mythos, a story of kings and challengers, of ancient wars and uneasy truces, of balance constantly teetering on the edge of collapse. From Muto Prime's parasitic threat, to Ghidorah's cosmic invasion, to Mechagodzilla's synthetic rebellion, every titan has left a scar on the Earth, and on Godzilla himself. And yet the king still stands, not untouched, but unbroken. What makes him worthy isn't just strength, it's resilience, strategy, that primal instinct to restore balance no matter the cost. But here's the truth. In a world this vast, with only 5% of the Hollow Earth explored, we haven't met them all. Somewhere out there, buried in ancient ice, or swimming through radioactive trenches, or rising from the deepest fault lines, new titans are waiting, watching, maybe even plotting. And when the next one rises, we'll find out if Godzilla still deserves the crown. Thanks for watching. Which titan do you think is powerful enough to challenge the king next? Drop your pick in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the Monsterverse. Because in this universe, the monsters aren't gone, they're just waking up.